Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. We will be going live in around 5 minutes. So if you could just patiently wait for other people to join us. Good morning. If you've just joined us, we will be starting at 9 o'clock. We're just waiting a few more minutes for anyone else to join us. Good morning. If you've just joined us, we will be starting in 1 or 2 minutes. We're just waiting to see if anyone else is joining us. Thank you for your patience. Okay, I think we can make a start. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me this morning. My name is Mrs. Wyeth, and I am the Deputy Head Teacher responsible for Pastoral and Student Achievement here at KDU International Primary School. I'm joined here this morning by Mrs. Tomlinson, who is the head of the primary school. She is in the audience. So first of all, I'll start by telling you a little bit about me. I have been at the school for 5 years, and my own children go to this school. My daughter Millie will be going into year 5, and my son William will be going into year 3 in September. They were aged only 4 years and 2 years old when we moved to Malaysia from the Middle East, and therefore Malaysia and KDU are very much their home. The school has grown so much in the last 5 years, and we are so very proud to have been part of that journey and to have helped make this school the school where we want our own children to learn and grow. We have a fantastic Key Stage 1 learning area, and Mrs. Tomlinson and Miss Sayers, who is the Key Stage 1 leader, will be here at 11 a.m. today to talk more about that. There are a number of very interesting previews today, but I'm here to talk to you about character formation, positive behaviour, and anti-bullying in our school SCIPs. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat box and I will answer them at the end of the presentation. So, what is character formation and why is it so important? Well, school is not just about learning concepts such as maths and English. It's also a place where a foundation can be built for becoming upstanding adults. Good character formation can provide ground rules for life. It is the process of learning common values, beliefs, and behaviours that are important for people to have as responsible citizens. Good character traits include things like loyalty, honesty, courage, integrity, fortitude, and other important virtues that promote good behaviour. A person with good character chooses to do the right thing because he or she believes it is morally the right thing to do. Good character is important for success in life because it determines how well you can achieve your goals, whether others want to deal with you, and how well you can fit into the different groups. When you work hard and are determined to achieve your goals, you can become more successful and confident in what you do. So how do we form character in SCIPs? Well, one of our biggest focuses is the learning power approach and our learning powers. Here on the screen, you can see the learning powers that we use within our school. The aim of this approach is to develop all students as confident and capable learners, ready, willing, and able to choose, design, research, pursue, troubleshoot, and evaluate learning for themselves. They need to be able to do this working independently, but also with others, in school and out of school. These learning powers are embedded into our curriculum and every activity we take part in. The teacher will highlight the different learning powers that children should be using and what the teacher is particularly looking for at that time. For example, within a maths lesson, the teacher may say, "Today, children, we will be learning to compare different angles, and I will be looking to see how you use the resourceful learning power. Can you look back at your previous learning on shapes and angles, and also use the resources around the classroom to help you find the answers? I will also be looking at how you are using the determined learning power. Can you keep going even if it gets tricky?" Our weekly assemblies focus on a different learning power each week to further educate and embed these values into everyday life in SCIPs. Our house point reward system is also linked to these learning powers, with house points given out whenever a child displays these values. What else do we do to form a character? Well, from the very first day in school, we begin to form the character of the children. The students will work together to come up with their class charter or class rules and responsibilities. They then agree and sign, thus ensuring that they take responsibility for their own behaviour and how they treat others within their class. Our house events bring children together from across the school to work together on a common goal. This could be anything from creating items to sell at the breast cancer fundraiser to creating a display board based on facts and information about the house that they are in. We want children to take responsibility for their learning, and there is no better way of doing that than our student-led conferences. This is where we give children the opportunity to present their learning to their parents with their teacher there as support. Children will present pieces of work that they are most proud of, explain where they have felt they have made the most progress, and identify the areas where there is still room for growth and improvement. These student-led conferences take place twice each year. In SCIPS, we focus on positive behaviour. We celebrate success and we learn from our mistakes. Through our character formation, we have a school full of kind, happy, caring and respectful children. We educate the children to understand that everyone makes mistakes and that it is simply part of the learning journey. We actually have a no eraser policy at school, whereby children cannot use an eraser to rub anything out unless they are in an art lesson or something similar. This is so that children are able to look back at their mistakes in their work, learn from them, and make the needed corrections and improvements. As you can imagine, when we first implemented this, it was a horror for many children as this seemed completely alien to them, and many were so afraid to make a mistake or not complete a task perfectly. However, they soon realised just how helpful it was to look back at a piece of work, see exactly where and why they had made a mistake, and then ensure that they did not make the same mistake again. This same mindset is also how we look at behaviour and learning from any mistakes we make in our behaviour. Now, I could sit here for hours and talk to you about different behaviour strategies. However, we do not have time for that today. I do, however, offer a behaviour management parent workshop within the academic year with lots of useful tips. But today I will just highlight the fact that ultimately behaviour is all to do with the needs of a child, and any negative behaviour is simply them trying to communicate with you. Even as an adult, it is very easy when feeling stressed or tired to snap at someone or say something unkind or something we don't mean. We've all been there, especially having been an MCO for so long and homeschooling our own children. Here in SCIPS, we do not focus on the negative behaviour, but instead we make the positive behaviour so appealing to our students that they understand that this, in fact, is the best way to gain the attention from those around them that they are really looking for. For example, if a child is making noises or getting out of their chair or simply not doing what they've been asked to do, rather than the teacher focusing all of the attention on that child and saying, "Ben, you must sit down, you must do that." Instead, they can choose to highlight, name, and celebrate other children within the class who are sitting nicely, who are focusing on their work, who are using their learning powers correctly. We have a celebration assembly every Friday with stars of the week from each class. And within classrooms, we celebrate and highlight children and their work and their effort and progress that we are proud of. So I'd like to move on next to anti-bullying and how we address this, as I realise that this is often something a parent considers when choosing a school for their child. I agree that you must ensure that any school you are considering has an anti-bullying policy, but also that their behaviour policy has a focus on positive behaviour, as I've previously mentioned. We have a zero tolerance approach to bullying, and as well as an annual anti-bullying week, we use our assemblies, our registration periods, and our PSHLE lessons to address concerns or issues related to bullying on an ongoing and continuous basis. We believe that successfully reducing bullying and building positive relationships depends upon several factors. The way we teach our students, the way we treat our students every day, the extra activities that we offer our students to enrich their lives and their sense of themselves, and the way we respond to incidents and problems when they do arise. How we teach our students matters greatly in this context. If it is true that it is much more difficult to bully someone you know well and impossible to bully someone for whom you have respect, our goal as teachers is to build a real knowledge of each other among our students and to build respect for one another as individuals who are all different and unique. Our PSHLE curriculum, which stands for Personal, Social, Health and Leadership Education, is extremely in-depth, and lessons provide an opportunity for us to focus on the children's morals, global awareness, as well as learning about bullying, e-safety and mental well-being. As I mentioned earlier, our house events are another great way for children to get together across all year groups and learn from each other. Children are regularly reminded and encouraged to speak to either myself, a teacher or a teaching assistant if they have a worry about themselves or indeed anyone else in school. Within classrooms, there are honesty boxes where children can leave a message if they are worried about something or someone and feel uncomfortable about approaching an adult. We also have virtual honesty boxes in every online classroom, and these have worked extremely well, especially since we have been online, and some children have had periods of feeling lonely or nervous about the new norm. We also have a fabulous school counsellor who works with children for a whole host of different reasons, anything from being anxious about exams to simply feeling low in one's mood. We provide parent workshops to educate our parents to look out for signs and symptoms, maybe that their child is displaying at home. And we offer information and advice on e-safety and cyberbullying. Now, should a bullying or suspected bullying incident occur within our school, we take it extremely seriously. We speak to all the concerned parties, and most importantly, we inform all of the parents immediately. We have a very thorough and effective online reporting system where all safeguarding concerns and incidents are recorded and stored, and all of our staff are given ongoing, intensive training throughout the year, every year, on how to deal with all aspects of safeguarding and bullying. Okay, so thank you for joining me and being such a great audience. That was just a very short and sweet snapshot of some of the things that we are doing within our school. Before we go to questions, I just want to remind you of the next preview happening today, which is at 10 a.m. With Mr. Hunt Brown, our assistant head teacher, and Mrs. Tomlinson, our head teacher. This preview will be talking about how we recruit, train, and develop the best teachers here in Skips. And also the marketing team will be putting some information into the chat box on our e-taster lessons that we are offering in Skips on the 30th of June. So if you're interested in attending one of those taster lessons, then please contact the admissions team. Also, there are one-on-one e-meets with either myself or Mrs. Tomlinson, where you can arrange to have a one-to-one meeting with us. And lastly, of course, the most important thing to remind you of today is the 50% discount off the application fee. Now, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat. Okay. Okay, so the first question we've got here is from Jerry. And may I know what safeguarding is about? Okay, Jerry. So safeguarding is when we look out for the health and well-being of the children within our school. And that can be anything from being concerned because maybe they have not come into school with their shoes on or they haven't brought their lunch, to more serious incidents where maybe we see marks on a child or we've noticed that a child is, has changed in their personality. Now, within our PSHLE program, we've recently started a new safeguarding unit. Now, we could talk to you about this for a long time. We got in touch with our parents. We formed a group a consultation group with our parents, and we talk to them about the importance of safeguarding and what we have learned and what we have brought over from the UK. So, for example, in Key Stage 1, just this week, the children learned about the real names, what the scientific names are for the body parts. And the reason for doing this is for safeguarding reasons. Now, I am from a generation where, you know, we had pet names for the body parts for my children. And we would just call them something cute because, of course, the British stiff upper lip and we don't want to say, you know, words that we may be embarrassed about. And that's how, you know, I was raised. But the problem with that, of course, is if you have a young child who comes to you and discloses that maybe someone they have met has been playing with their biscuit or playing with their fairy, then for us, we don't know what that may mean. And actually, we need to know what they're talking about. Now, we're on Facebook Live here, so I don't want to start shouting these words out, but I hope that you get some understanding as to what it's about. Mrs. Tomlinson, do you want to add anything to that? Because really, you've kickstarted this program.
Yeah, I think what I could say is to explain safeguarding, and this is the way that I help staff understand it. Safeguarding is an umbrella for everything that covers well-being, health, physical and mental, child protection, keeping children safe, everything from anti-bullying to attendance to healthy eating. So safeguarding is a very general umbrella. The student safeguarding program that Mrs. Wyeth was referencing is about student empowerment, and it's about children understanding boundaries and being able then to know about consent and about appropriate boundaries that they can have. So yeah, that's just a bit of a whistle-stop tour in 30 seconds about it. You've got another question from Jerry about cyberbullying, Mrs. Wyeth. Do you want to take that one?
Yes, that's fine. So we do a lot of workshops during the year for parents to help them understand, because obviously with anything online, it grows and moves very quickly. Now, within school for the students, we, on a regular basis, I mean, it comes up all the time in registration whenever we're kind of reacting to things that we hear about, new apps that children are on, new sites, but especially WhatsApp. We really try and push home why these, for one, why some of these apps and sites have age restrictions. And I always use the example of, you know, when we were at school and there were no mobile phones, if you had an argument or, you know, you fell out with your best friend and you went home and you were really angry, and I know I would write a letter and I'd write everything, you know, you've really upset me today. And then I would be planning the next day to take it into school. I'm going to give them this letter. And of course, when you wake up the next morning, you don't feel like that anymore. And so then you just throw the letter in the bin. You go to school and everything's back to normal. And of course, our children are not, they're in a different lifetime now, in that, you know, they very often will send that message immediately without thinking, and then it kind of spirals out of control and then it becomes something else. So we very much push home and use examples and explain and show scenarios. Cyberbullying is something that is certainly big in the world, but you know, we spend a large amount of time educating our children and our parents about it. And you know, we need to get the balance right. We can't just say, don't let your children, you know, or say to the children, you cannot use anything. You know, you have to know the positives of social media and being online and the negatives, and just know what to do. If you come across something that you're not sure of or something that upsets you, then who to go to, who to tell. Okay. Mrs. Tomlinson, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we got to Renee's question about her child being shy, because I think we're very good at doing this.
Yes, I think so as well. And I think Renee, I think that this is a worry for probably most parents at this time, even current parents that are at skips, even my own children, because we've been online for so long. But we are very, very aware of this. So one of the key things that we are trying to do, and we've actually been doing it while we've been online as well, but is trying to encourage that communication. And if you come back and you watch the Key Stage 1 presentation, then you will see as well, you know, the areas that we've built, the stage that we've built that will encourage acting and play, to really encourage kind of coming together, being able to talk to each other, because I think that's the problem that we've had, is children have not been playing with each other. And so some of them, even the big kids, even the ones in secondary school, are lacking or have forgotten. They've kind of stepped back. They're not sure of how to start a conversation even. So we will be implementing lots and lots of games, activities, even when we were in school, as simple as during lunchtime, when we weren't allowed to go outside to play and we had to stay inside, the teacher or the person on duty in the classroom would start a game, you know, maybe a bit of charades, and it would just get everyone back together and talking and laughing. So shyness or anyone being nervous about going back in the classroom, that will be a huge focus, and I can promise you it will be nothing to worry about at all. The teachers are fabulous and very, very well equipped and understanding of shy children or children, like I say, who are just nervous. Do we have any more questions there?
We haven't got any more questions in the chat, but just to pick on what you were saying with Renee, where we've got just a few minutes more left of the live, you've got to remember as parents that everybody else is in the same position as your child. They've all been online. And so parents are beginning to ask me, oh, how are you going to fill gaps? My child hasn't been in school for a while. But everybody else is the same also. So they're all in the same position. And one of our school development priorities when we go into school, because of the nature of what's happened globally, will be speaking and listening face to face and getting used to actually talking together again, not across a screen, but in the flesh. So everybody will get an opportunity to build their confidence with that. A question's just popped up from
Angel. So Angel would like to know, during this pandemic and this online teaching, how do teachers keep teaching these positive behavior? We, from the very beginning, when we first went online, we already had decided on the expectations that we had for the children. We spoke about these, we shared them with parents, we shared them with the children, and we have high expectations. So children who come online, they must be sitting upright, they must have their cameras on, they must have their microphones mute. And it's a constant reminder of them as well, that if they are not doing those things, then, we will speak to their parents, or they will not get a house point. And so it's still that use of house points, that reminder of praising and celebrating the children who are doing it, using them as the example of what, you should be doing. Oh, well done. Emily is sitting beautifully. Who else can sit like Emily? And it's those kinds of verbal communication and that kind of positive behavior strategies that we use. And you can still, it is more tricky, obviously, because I can't stop a child from walking off into another room. But generally, on the whole, I think setting those expectations, reminding the children all the time, praising the positive behavior, still having the rewards. I know my son in year 2 at the moment, they have a marble jar, and I think it's at the end of the term, they get to watch a movie together online. But they all have to be doing the right thing in order to get the marble. And all of our teachers use different strategies like that. Whatever works for that class and those children, that's what's key. Our teachers are very good at working out very quickly what types of rewards and what types of positive behaviour they need to use in their classroom.
One thing I would say with that is that you've got to see it to believe it, and you've got to see our teachers in action to see how skilled they are at motivating even our younger students. It amazed me when I was in the celebration assembly, which we still do, even though we're online every Friday. There was over 250 children in one Google Meet. The behaviour was perfect. There was a number of opportunities where staff praised children who were celebrating and clapping along. It's just one of those things I think you have to experience. We've got the experiential lessons opportunity for you to come into our lessons, see how our teachers are, because they are phenomenal at being able to motivate and engage even virtually. So I think those are on the 30th, and you've got an opportunity to come into our lessons. You can come in and just as a parent, just to see how we interact and how our teachers are online. You can have your child go in and experience as a student. You could go into multiple classes if you really wanted to. This is an opportunity for you to see it all in action. And Mrs. Wyeth this morning, I think, has done an amazing job at outlining everything. But there really is no substitute for seeing what it looks like. So even if you can only manage to get to us for 10 minutes on the 30th for the experiential lessons, I do urge you to do that. I think we're just about up with our 30 minutes. Thank you, Mrs. Wyeth. You have done a wonderful job this morning of outlining everything for our parents. The other previews this morning are being put in the chat. So yes, Mr. Hunt Brown and myself are online at 10 o'clock, and then I'm online at 11 o'clock with Miss Sayers to talk about year one schooling. Until then, I hope you enjoyed the preview. Please do get in touch with the marketing team if you've anything else you'd like to know or are unsure about anything. Thank you again to Mrs. Wyeth. You've been wonderful.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mrs. Tomlinson.